16th. A sad day. Miss Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul. She passed away today. And so Brandon and I thought that we would take the first segment and maybe talk a little bit about her. I'd never seen her live in concert. One of my favorite performances by her, or rather my favorite performance by her, is one on film, and that was when she was singing Think in the Blues Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's my favorite part of the movie.
Well, that's what brought her career back.
It did. It really did. And I'll tell you what I found ironic. Queen of Soul died same day as King of Rock and Roll.
Oh, wow.
Elvis, this is the day that Elvis died. So she died exactly 40 years later than Elvis Presley, same exact day. Kind of ironic. Yeah. You know, the Queen of Soul, the King of Rock.
Yeah.
It would have been a great trifecta if Michael Jackson would have died on the same day.
Well, yeah, but you know, she, if I remember right, she was the first woman inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Aretha Franklin. I mean, when I look at her career, I mean, it spanned decades, and it was greatness that spanned decades. I mean, I look back all the way, I mean, to some of the historically iconic moments that she performed in. You go all the way back to 1968 at Martin Luther King's funeral. She performed at it. She sang at it. You go all the way to 2009, President Obama's inauguration.
Yeah.
I mean, her career, her influence, the power in her voice spanned such a long time, and it really got started during the Civil Rights era and lasted. You know, look, whether you like him or not, it lasted once the first African American became president. Yeah. And that's pretty incredible.
And I'll tell you, she said in an interview that was the high point of her entire career.
I bet.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
Okay, a big milestone for the African American community. And I'll tell you, Aretha Franklin definitely had that stature where when she went on stage, she commanded all of the attention.
Yeah.
There was a performance that she did several years back, but in the modern era with a lot of modern singers. I believe Beyonce was up there, handful of women, all right, and she was part of it. And they took turns singing, you know, it was just this ongoing song, I guess you could say. They didn't stop and start and stop and start, and she blew them all away.
Yeah.
And it was great to see that because, I mean, she was an enormous person. Okay, so you know, when somebody that big gets on stage, you're worried about them.
Yeah.
Okay, I was really worried about her health. Yeah. But when she performed at such a high level, it was very impressive, really cool to see. And as I mentioned before, I thought that it was really ironic that she died on the same day that Elvis died. And I remember that. I was just a young boy. But I remember when Elvis died, and that was a big, big day in rock and roll history. Yeah. And so here's another one. And in the last few years, we've had a lot of conversations about people that we've lost in the rock and roll community and in the music industry as well. You know, David Bowie, Prince. Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of them. There's several of them that we've lost. And I'm going to tell you what bothers me about this, besides the obvious. But what bothers me about this is that as we continue to lose these musicians and entertainers, I don't see those iconic performers coming up in today's youth. No. Okay, there's no one there, I believe, to replace them. They've got really great entertainers. Bruno Mars, and as I mentioned, Beyonce and Christina Aguilera. There's several of them out there. But you know, Taylor Swift is just not going to be Aretha Franklin. No. You know, I just don't see that happening.
No, and I agree with that. And again, not only just the talent that she had, I mean, a true musician that she was, the true power in her voice, like I mentioned earlier, but also the historical, the presence in history that Aretha Franklin will have. I mean, coming up through the civil rights movement, of course, her dad was a pastor. And she was someone that as big as she got, she never forgot where she came from. I mean, she was very instrumental in you know, helping those that civil rights leaders that unfortunately were in prison. There was one, for instance, that comes to mind, Angela Davis, who she really went to bat for and paid her bail. You know, just saying, hey, look, you know, I don't think that she deserves to be in jail. She's someone that's fighting for African Americans. she's someone that didn't forget where she came from, no matter how big she got. But again, the fact that it's not just that she was a great entertainer, she was a great musician, but that she was someone that stood throughout some of the biggest moments in history. And sometimes I see some of these entertainers and some of these actors that are trying to kind of like make their stamp where they come out against President Trump on something. I think they're trying to make their mark in history. They're not going to make their mark in history like this woman did.
Well, I agree with you. She was significant in playing that role in the civil rights movement. But what I like a lot about her is that she did it without offending people.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, she wasn't controversial. She she participated. She played a significant role. She used her position as a worldwide entertainer to bring attention to the cause, but she didn't make anybody angry in doing it, okay? Yeah. And that's what we're missing today. We're missing our entertainers today that want to be part of a cause. All they do is attack Trump.
Yeah.
They cannot get their message across without being controversial, without being insulting. And, you know, she did a good job at that. And I'll tell you another thing that I find interesting. I think she was 76.
Yeah, 76.
Okay, 76 years old. And I'll tell you another thing, that how times have changed. It came up a few times in conversation today with me and other people, and a few people said, wow, man, she was young. Okay?
Yeah,
isn't that crazy how times have changed, that when somebody who's 76 years old, we lose someone that's 76 years old, one of the first reactions is, wow, that person was young. Yeah. I mean, if you don't hit 80 nowadays, you know, you're going early. Good problem to have. Okay, but nevertheless, you know, apparently she was really sick, and sorry to see her go, but she left behind a big legacy.
Yes, she did.
Good work, Aretha.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's the difference I feel today between her and many of the other greats that we've had in music that we've lost. I mean, she transcends all styles of music. She is someone that, you know, it's like when, you know, I remember when Michael Jackson died, and that his was kind of controversial, hers was kind of expected. But there's still that, okay, we just lost a great.
Yeah, and there was no baggage there.
No baggage.
That's the thing. You know, a lot of these people that we lose, like we were saying before, there's baggage. They got in trouble. They had bad press. Yeah. You can't find any bad press about Aretha Franklin. Okay, everybody liked her, even when she was involved in the civil rights movement.
Yep. 232-1542. We go to the Cajun Early Hotline. We'd love to hear from you as we talk about Aretha Franklin here in this opening segment. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Hey.
Good.
Hey, so I'm a guy, but what I loved about Aretha Franklin was not only the civil rights movement, but I love the fact that she really gave women empowerment. I mean, you know, with songs like Respect and Natural Woman, which I believe Carole King wrote, but then also I remember her in that movie The Blues Brothers, where she was singing You Better Think, and she was giving them, you know, she was giving her man some heck about you better think before you leave me.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, in the movie, he still left.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, but she really stood up. And then the thing I liked about her also was she was really humble, but she was like the queen of the divas, and not that she was a diva herself, but she was such an icon that I remember. I don't even know what the show was, but I remember watching a show one time as live, and it had all the top singers of the day, and a lot of them were younger. And I remember, I think it was Celine Dion was on there, and some others that were, you know, really great female iconic diva singers, and maybe even Whitney Houston was on there. I'm not sure who, but when Aretha came out, she was older, but she came out, and it was like everybody just kind of got pushed aside. She started doing her thing, and you could just hear and feel the difference. It's like the queen has arrived.
I remember I mentioning it a few minutes ago. I remember that performance, and it's just like you described. It was like, all right, y'all get out of the way and let me show you how to do this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and they had some big stars. They had some big stars on that stage, and by the time she was halfway through her performance, they were all just standing over to the side, you know, completely humiliated.
Thank you, caller.
All right, thank you, caller.
All right, 232-1542, 232-1542. We just wanted to take some time today to remember, you know, look, Aretha Franklin, she was such an amazing icon, and so we had to talk about her for a little bit.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a minute about our friends over at LA Solar Film. Yes. LA Solar Film is Acadiana's premier residential and commercial window tint service, treating your windows with a tint film that has been proven to reduce utility bills.
Yes, and look, reducing utility bills. Look, right now, we were named today, as a matter of fact, by Forbes as the state, the hottest state in the country. I mean, essentially.
In the world, Brandon.
Well, there you go. Well, I don't want to say the world. No, the equator is pretty hot.
All right, but listen, mid-August, yes. I'm calling it the world.
But it's true. I saw that report earlier today, as a matter of fact. And look, if you want to be able to protect your home while we are going through this blazing hot summer, while you're right smack dab in the middle of the hottest state in the U.S., you want to get LA Solar Films. Look, that tinted film can help to reduce those utility bills, like Shannon said. Everybody else's utility bills may be going up in the summertime, but you can keep yours in check.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to counteract those high electricity bills that are coming in, because, listen, the difference between us and these other states is that in other states, it gets cool at night.
Yeah.
Okay? I was speaking with somebody over here at Town Square Media, a new gentleman that's working over here, and he just moved here from Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
And he was explaining to me that it's still blazing hot there during the day, but the difference is that it still gets down to about maybe 70 degrees at night. Yeah. We don't get that here.
No, we don't.
So it stays hot, and once that concrete gets hot, mid-August, it stays hot. And so that's why you need all the help you can. And LA Solar Film is definitely the way to do it.
Yep, want to let you know estimates are always free, so make sure you give Greg with LA Solar Film a call at 534-8039 to schedule your consultation. And make sure you tell them that you heard about them here on Offsides. We'll take this quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to jump into our first discussion of the day. We'll take this quick commercial break. You're listening to Offsides. 94 degrees here at the KPL News Center. See a little bit more clouds outside, though. We might possibly get some rain. I know there's a couple of pop-up showers showing up on the radar right now.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm fine with that.
I am too.
Cool things off just a little bit.
So joining us on the phone lines right now is State Senator Fred Mills, and we want to talk with him. You know, there's been some big news about medical marijuana this week. As a matter of fact, Louisiana's first legal crop of medical marijuana can be planted this week. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But first off, we want to welcome Senator Fred Mills to the show. Sir, thank you so much for taking some time to speak with us.
Oh, always a pleasure to be with y'all. Y'all okay, Brandon and Shannon? Y'all doing all right?
Oh, yeah.
We're doing good.
How are you, Senator?
Oh, I'm doing good. I can't complain. I'm up walking and I'm breathing. I'm good.
That's good. Any pain?
No, I'm doing good.
Any pain? Okay, the reason I'm asking is because if you've got some kind of pain, you know, you might be able to use medical marijuana pretty soon.
You know, and look, and look, you know, it's something that you've been fighting for a while. You know, that's why we wanted to reach out to you, because, you know, you've been fighting for this in the legislature for the past few years. And what's amazing about this is, you know, medical marijuana got approved in the sense a few years ago, but what's crazy was medical marijuana has actually been legal in Louisiana for a couple of decades at least, but you still had to go through the legislature.
The 70s.
Since the 70s. There you go.
It's a remarkable story. I mean, it's been legal since the 70s, and I was the director of Board of Pharmacy under Mike Foster in the 90s, and I get calls from people saying, where can I get medical marijuana? And I'd say, what's the deal? So when I did the research, it was passed by the legislature in the 70s. It was passed again in the 90s. But never did they come up with a mechanism of how to grow it, dispense it, prescribe it. So there was the intent of legislation was it's legal, but they never came up with a solution of how to do it.
Okay, and is that okay? After it got passed, tell us about, because one of the things that I'm not very clear about is the role that Southern and LSU universities play in it, or going to play.
That's a good question. What happened when the legislation finally was approved? It got out of the Senate, and guess who was the major opponent to this? It was law enforcement. Law enforcement vehemently opposed the legislation. So they came to a compromise when the bill made it to the House from the Senate, and they said, "Look, we will still oppose it, but we'll work with you because it looks like this is going to pass. And we do not want everybody to be able to grow it, dispense it. So we want to limit the numbers. And if this works, then we'll have another conversation." There's a lot of opposition to that, saying it's going to just be like the casino riverboats, and you're going to have a fight over these licenses. Well, at the time when the bill was getting ready to get passed in the House, Southern Ag and LSU Ag were missing a lot of funding. They were having some major deficits, and they don't get to raise money through tuition like the universities do. So an amendment was put on the House floor that the only two folks that could grow it, cultivate it, and have a final product was LSU and Southern Ag.
Mm-hmm.
We fine-tuned the legislation to say they could do it, and they could also do it under a private agreement with private vendors also.
Right.
But we did also put in the legislation that they had the first right of refusal, and if they refused it, then it would be more into a private request for proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, both universities studied it, and they both decided that they were going to be part of the manufacturing and cultivation process,
mm-hmm.
but they realized that the investment was quite sizable, so
mm-hmm.
They put an RFP out there, they did their interviews, and they've awarded contracts to groups to do a public-private partnership.
Yeah, and like GB Sciences, it basically got the contract with LSU, and Advanced Biomedics is with Southern. And so that's where, and so basically they're really not, and I don't mean this to sound critical or even insulting, but as I see it, they're really not doing anything.
Well, GB Sciences, I hear, and I've been talking.
No. I mean the universities.
Oh,
they got the ability to do it, but then they're not doing it. They basically just subbed it out.
Well, LSU, I've not visited with the Southern leadership in quite some time, but I did talk to Dr. Richardson with LSU, and what they're envisioning at LSU is they are going to be working side by side to develop certain patents, to develop certain research. And I think at the time when I met, and this changes a lot of times because it was a strategy, but they've also they're going to work with Pennington. So they've got a plan that they don't want to just develop product. They want to develop some patented product that is used and maybe utilized throughout the United States. So they want to become a research center with the university, and GB Sciences will be more of the manufacturing process. But they do have a plan of not only a product, but a success for product development and research on the university campus. I'm understanding.
So as anyone can imagine, obviously growing medical marijuana would fall under the agriculture department under Commissioner Mike Strain, which brings us to today's news. Now, his agency, of course, regulates the industry, but there's been what some say is a regulatory logjam that's created this months-long delay. Can you kind of explain what's going on there?
Yeah. The way the legislation was designed is we gave three agencies or boards the authority to promulgate rules and publish rules and develop rules. And Department of Agriculture takes part in the cultivation process and the growing process. That's Department of Ag. The Board of Pharmacy regulates the dispensing of it, and the Board of Medical Examiners regulates how doctors will be able to prescribe or recommend it.
Uh-huh.
From the Department of Agriculture side, they've gone through the process. I've attended several of their meetings, or working meetings, and they basically have designed all of the rules, all the regulations, licensing procedures, sanitary procedures, that type of thing. And it takes time because they have to have public hearings once they publish the rule, and the rule is just like the legislative process. It goes through public hearings, has to be advertised. It could have oversight hearings with the House or Senate. And I understand they finally have gotten all of the particulars ironed out. From talking to Commissioner Strain, he said to me more than once, he said, look, I've got to get this 100% right. It has to be 100% regulated from seed to final product. So I think, from the industry standpoint, it's hurry, hurry, hurry. From the regulator standpoint, as we have a lot of times, is I got to get it right, and I'm going to make this on my timetable and not yours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm understanding that everyone is all systems go, and that's what GB Sciences was waiting on, because they've been waiting on that final approval from the department, and I understand now it's ready to move.
Actually, their facility is they're getting their final inspection this afternoon in Baton Rouge.
Well, I talked to John a few times, and he was pretty optimistic, because I said, when can we have product? And he says, if Department of Ag gives me the okay, once I start my process, I should be ready within 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and for me, I will tell you, I've had families of all types of debilitating diseases call me up. I just had a lady just this morning. She said, I've got pancreatic cancer, and I've gone to Colorado a few times. It's helped me. Can you tell me when I can get product in Louisiana?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get 3 or 4 of those calls probably in a week's time.
Yeah. So, okay, you mentioned the doctors, and the doctors
Mm-hmm.
and as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, the doctors will not actually be writing prescriptions. They'll be writing recommendations to the pharmacies.
Yes.
So tell us the difference, because I'm a little vague on that. What's the difference between a doctor writing a prescription versus a doctor writing a recommendation?
That's a great question. There's really not a difference.
It's the same thing.
Semantics.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. And what's happened is, because this is still a federal Schedule 1 drug, which is in the same category as a Schedule 1 drug, it should have absolutely no medicinal use whatsoever, like LSD or heroin. Mm-hmm. It's kind of strange when you do the research, and if you Google up marijuana, the United States government owns a patent on marijuana. So it should be deschedulized because the Schedule 1 drug has no medicinal use. So a doctor does not lose their prescribing license. Most states have gone to the semantics of calling it a recommendation. They get a separate license, a recommendation license, so it doesn't affect their normal, what's called a CDS license to be able to prescribe. Mm-hmm. And so it's really a verbiage game more than anything else. But that recommendation will have the same look and feel as a prescription.
Yeah, it sounds like too many attorneys are involved.
It's kind of what. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah, but thanks for clearing that up.
Well, and let me ask you this, Senator. We're speaking with State Senator Fred Mills, talking about the dispensaries. How many dispensaries are going to? I'm trying to think how to ask this because it's a fluid situation. How many dispensaries are there now that are ready to be able to facilitate, medical marijuana across the state?
Good question. When the legislation was passed, the compromise that was made with law enforcement to be able to really regulate this was 10 licenses could be awarded in a competitive atmosphere. What the Board of Pharmacy has done is they went through a strenuous interview process. They graded each applicant, mm-hmm. and 9 dispensaries geographically will be dispersed through the state of Louisiana. Okay. 10 are authorized. They're going to keep 1 license available, and once they see where the mass of recommendations are distributed, then they're going to take that 10th license and make that one a competitive one, but make it more geographically central to where the recommendations are done.
So, for example, let me stop you and get a clarification on that. So, for example, that 1 license that's left over, if they start seeing that if one of the dispensaries in Orleans Parish is being that's where most of the prescriptions, if you will, or recommendations are being filled, they may see that they have a need for a second location in Orleans Parish, and so then they would have the opportunity to put it there or Shreveport or wherever the multitude of the needs are.
Correct. You're 100% right. Okay. That's exactly right. Now, to kind of add to that is I sense that the legislature, especially the House, is to the point like, okay, we see this is working in other states. We think 10 dispensaries are not adequate. There has been legislation that came pretty close to getting out of the House to make it more of a free market system. Mm-hmm. And it's basically, hey, if you meet the minimal criteria, like in anything else, you're awarded a license if you're in good standing. I think you're going to see tweaks to the legislation over the next few years, especially if people are getting the results that other states are getting. If you're seeing people with epilepsy and chronic pain and certain things getting results and the demand starts rising, I think what we're talking about today may change over the years. Yeah. You just never know.
As well as the income for the state. And if I'm not mistaken, the state's going to be collecting a 25% tax.
Well, that's an interesting question. And I'll tell you what, I've talked to the Department of Revenue, and I know there's going to be a taxation situation for the 2 cultivators. Mm-hmm. But in Louisiana, if you look at, and I might be opening up a big old can of worms right here. Perfect. But if you look at, y'all like that.
That's what we do here on Offsides. We open up a can of worms.
Get your electronic can opener ready. Let's go.
That's true. But if you look in Louisiana, a prescription is tax exempt. You can tax it on a local level, but it's state tax exempt.
Maybe that's why they have a recommendation.
Well, no, that's a kind of a national thing. That was not,
okay.
That was not, sorry, that was not, we're not that smart. We didn't think that. So my thing with Department of Revenue has always been is this truly is a prescription or a recommendation, and I've always felt that was a tax-exempt state transaction. So I'm sure there's going to be, once directives come out to the dispensaries, I'm sure Department of Revenue is going to be out there, but I can't see more than the 4.45% tax on a taxable item that's not state exempt. So that's the highest I would see it on. And you see another point that's really critical for this industry to make it and for patients to want it. Insurance and Medicaid and Medicare does not pay for this. So a consumer is going to have to make that choice. I've been getting this prescription on my copay for $10, or I've been getting it on Medicare for this, and I'm on Medicaid for free, or whatever the copay is. And now all of a sudden on a monthly basis, I might be paying $50, $60 a month.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an economic decision for people.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of money. As I understand it, when the universities buy the marijuana from the cultivators, that would be GB Sciences or Advanced Biomedics, they will be paying a 25% sales tax on that, and that's where the sales tax revenue is going to be coming from. Wow. Not from actually the dispensary, but when the universities buy the product from the cultivators.
Well, I got to get myself clear on that, because I might have missed that in the rule. I'm not saying you're wrong, because you sound like you've done the research, but what I saw a little disjointed in the conversation, the taxation was going to be from Department of Agriculture that was going to go from those universities to Department of Agriculture. I didn't think it was going to go into the state coffers, but I need to do some homework on that, Shannon.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, and I got that information from the people that are working with these cultivating companies. And so their big point was, man, this is going to be a big revenue source for the state, which is a good thing. 25% sales tax that they're going to be paying for the money that they collect from the universities. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, we're going to have to really, I'm saying that from a standpoint of for the consumer, because it's sooner or later it goes back to the consumer. And if you take a product already and you tack on that type of tax, you basically are going to start making it unaffordable for that person. I think there's going to have to be some more discussion. And I'm glad you brought it up. I was just so focused on getting product to the patient that I have some more. I need to do some more research on that one. You got me cold on that one.
Well,
sorry.
And I'll say this, Senator. I mean, for someone that's been getting all of these letters from people that really need it, and we're talking about, in this situation, if this becomes something that's unaffordable, I mean, obviously the main people that, I know that you were fighting for when dealing with medical marijuana is your constituents that were emailing you, that were sending you letters saying, hey, I'm fighting whatever debilitating disease it is, and I need some relief from it. And obviously they've already got medical bills that they're getting hit with.
Oh, yeah.
If you add something like this that is supposed to be, to be able to help them, but if it becomes unaffordable, then it kind of defeats the purpose of what you set out to do.
Exactly. And that's been always a major point of concern for me when I've been talking to the potential cultivators or the in-use distributors as the dispensaries is what is going to be the final product price for the consumer. And I've not gotten that answer yet. And that's the one that's kind of keeping me up at night, because it has to be affordable, and not just for that one-time prescription, because if you have a chronic condition and you've got to get that refilled every month, if it's cost prohibitive, Brandon, you're right. I mean, it defeats the purpose of all the work everybody's done.
Any chance that insurance companies are going to be paying for this?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, from a business standpoint, a pure business standpoint, if all of a sudden, with the testimony I've seen from other states, they had one lady, she had a child that had 17 prescriptions. Her name was Ella Grace Hall. And she had 17 prescriptions. They moved to Colorado. They put on Charlotte's Web. She sent me a video of the little child riding a bicycle. Yeah. She was getting anyway, from an insurance company standpoint, if I could eliminate 10, 12 drugs and have just one, it seems to make sense to pay for it. Yeah. I guess the debate starts becoming, can I pay for a Schedule I prohibited federal issue? The layers of complication become really complicated on this issue. The banking industry is struggling with this right now. Can I bank marijuana-related businesses? Some banks are choosing to do it. Other banks are saying, I don't want to be out in the forefront, because from a federal issue, it's still a federally prohibited transaction. So there's layers of complexity to it. So I don't lose my mind. I kind of take it one step at a time. And I guess my one step right now is get product out, get a prescription out, a recommendation out there, and see some results for some folks.
Any chance that you think President Trump's going to launch a campaign to make it legal federally?
Oh, I don't know. I think.
Are you going to be mad with me by the end of this interview? I don't mean to be. No. I'm just curious what your thoughts are, because there's that federal thing that's still lingering out there. And when you mention the banks, I know I've seen reports and done some reading on this, and I see these dispensaries that are in different parts of the country, and they have to have enormous safes on their location because they can't open a bank account. The banks won't take their money, and so they're hoarding all of this cash on site. And they're spending enormous amounts of money for security because there's nothing they can do with the money. It's sitting in the safe, in these huge safes inside the dispensaries. And one of the reasons is because the banks are saying, sorry, guys, this is still a federal law. Anytime they want, the feds could, in fact, start enforcing it.
Well, I would say this, just my 2 cents, and Senator, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. If President Trump is for right to try, which he obviously is, well, and we're talking about right to try, then why not be for medical marijuana?
Yeah, exactly. And if they just descheduleize it from a 1 to a 2, the whole world becomes a lot easier to manage, and it would make it so much easier. You know, and then you just never know the internal tug of war that you have on a federal level, because think of this, and this is just my theory, and I have no proof on it, but if this does take off as it's taken off in other states, you do have statistically some drop in certain drugs. It's shown in other states that have legalized this, the opioid consumption for pain has gone down. It has really gone down. Well, who's going to lose in this case? Some of the big pharmacy manufacturers are going to lose a lot of money. So you wonder who's playing that tug of war on that big stage, because that's got to be a discussion that if you do descheduleize it, you're going to have some winners and some losers.
Well, Senator Fred Mills has been our guest, sir. We thank you so much, for getting with us. Kind of a last-minute deal. We decided we were going to do this topic earlier today and reached out to you, and you made some time for us and our listeners. And so we really thank you for that, and thank you for staying on a little bit longer than I thought we were, but we really enjoyed the conversation with you.
Great talking to you.
Oh, I enjoyed it, too. Anytime you want to visit, y'all, give me a call.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, man.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and take this quick commercial break. When we come back, we want to go to the phone lines, get your thoughts on what you've just heard. 232-1542. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Offsides, everybody. So listen, LA Solar Film. Earlier we were talking about LA Solar Film. Let's talk a little bit more about them. They have a product called Security Film. And what they can do is that they can come out to your home or your place of business and they can tint your windows. But the product that they are using is also called Security Tint. And the reason it's called Security Tint is because it provides a layer of security on your window. Kind of makes it like tempered glass. So you know how people put tape on their windows when you're going to have a storm or a hurricane? You won't need to do that with this product.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, when you think of security, there are two things. There's obviously security from the weather that we're talking about here, and that's what this is as well. I mean, look, like we're talking about right now, it was blazing hot a few minutes ago. Now it's pouring down raining. You never know here in Louisiana, and you got to make sure that your windows are covered with the security film so it can withstand, whatever pops up. But also, you look at the fact of privacy, and you look at the fact that whether you're a homeowner or whether you're a business owner, you want to be able to protect your family, your personal property, and your business day and night. And people are less likely to break in as well if you've got this security film.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a lot harder to break a window and crawl through it when you've got that product on there. Yeah. So give LA Solar Film a call at 534-8039. Tell Greg you heard about it here on Offsides.
All right.
All right, so back to the pot thing. All right, so earlier we were talking with Senator Fred Mills. That was a great conversation. Yeah. And it's because now it looks like we're getting one step closer to actually being able to purchase medicinal marijuana here in the state. I actually have a few relatives that have been waiting for this for a variety of different reasons. And a lot of people are waiting for this, and it's way overdue. Yeah. There's going to be, as I mentioned before, a good cash flow, new money that is found for the state. There's still going to be some issues, though. As the senator said, there's only going to be 9 dispensaries to begin with. And, if they see a need for more dispensaries, that's going to take some time. Yeah. Okay, these people are screened very thoroughly. You can't just open up Brandon and Shannon's pot dispenser. Right. Okay.
It's a very stringent process.
It's a very stringent process. Also, another thing is that there are only currently 40 doctors in the entire state that are.
That's more than I thought.
Well, it isn't. I thought I was a lot less than I thought. Okay, 40, because we don't know where those 40 doctors are. Yeah. All right. We don't know where they're distributed. We don't know who they are at this point. And so there might not be one in your town. You may have to travel. Yeah. So 40 doctors spread out across the entire state isn't that much, especially when you consider that several of them are likely going to be in more concentrated areas, like Baton Rouge, Shreveport, New Orleans, Lafayette. Yeah. Okay, but if you don't live in, if you live in Monroe, you might not have one in your entire town.
Right. 232-1542. We'd love to get your thoughts on all this. Caller, you were on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, I think the best thing we can possibly do is get into a little business situation of our own. Me and you two guys will open up the pizza session next to the dispensary. We'll get rich.
Yeah, well, we're going to be hungry. Unfortunately, this type of marijuana doesn't make you high, and it doesn't make you hungry. This is strictly medicinal marijuana, and it's going to be in pill or oil form, and it doesn't have THC in it, so you don't get high. But I like the way you're thinking.
232-1542. Want to get some calls in before we have to go to the 5 o'clock hour. You're on the air. Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, I contacted I have some medical issues and stuff in my life. I call and talk to you guys often.
We appreciate that.
I had contacted about 3 months ago. Yeah, I really enjoyed the show. About 3 months ago, the only doctor I could find around here was a Dr. Cho in Baton Rouge. Yes, sir. And I knew that they were getting closed just Monday because they called me. They called me and asked me if I had got any further information or anything. I was like, I told my buddy, I said, man, we'll be hearing something soon about it. And this week it's all over now. It's all kind of, you're hearing that they're growing it or they're soon to be growing it and stuff. So I think I can't wait for it to come down.
Well, now here's the thing about it though. Marijuana takes about 3 months to mature. So the first product's not expected to be available until November. So, man, I know this has got to be trying people's patience.
Okay, that's when the marijuana is completely grown. Yeah. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be ready because it then needs to be fabricated into an oil or pill form.
Good point. Yeah.
Okay, so even though it takes 3 months to grow the plant, that doesn't mean that right after the 3 months it's necessarily going to be readily available for patients. Yeah. But shortly thereafter.
Yeah, hopefully so.
All right. Well, appreciate the show, guys.
Thank you. All right, 232-1542. Look, it's people like you that help make this show. I mean, you guys are just great, and we enjoy having these conversations with you every day. All right, caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't understand what's the big deal with all of this hoopla and protection for this. I mean, isn't basically most of the drugs in a pharmacy can get you high or looped up or something along that lines? I mean, I don't understand why they just can't filter all of this stuff through pharmacies just like regular drugs do.
Well, it might come to that eventually. Apparently the state is being very selective about who is going to be distributing. Like, for example, the dispensary here in Lafayette, as I understand, is going to be Professional Arts. And that's a pharmacy that is over right off of Ambassador near Walmart. And so that's a good question, though. Why not just have it why not just let Walgreens and all the other pharmacies dispense it? It might come to that.
I mean, if it's going to be in a pill form or a liquid form or a drops, I mean, it's just like any other product that they have on their shelves. I mean, I really don't understand what's the big issue about all of this and why people are raising. Well, again, it's Louisiana and it's politics, so I can understand that.
You got your answer right there, my friend.
I mean, this is just annoying. You know, and people out there that need this kind of stuff, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's already been delayed way too long. This should have been well available for all of us long ago.
I'm with you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, 232-1542. Caller, you're up next. Go ahead.
Well, guys, I hadn't talked to y'all in a little while, but I'm back.
Okay, what you got?
I've been wondering where you were.
We'll tread carefully. What you got?
About me, okay. You know, I've never smoked weed before, so I don't know what it's all about. But I mean, this is like almost a non-issue thing right here. You see, when government gets control over something, for them to let anything out of its control, they go through a big old thing, a whole bunch of ceremony and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why we can't let them ever get control of our firearms.
Well, I mean, no one can disagree.
They already have control over all the drugs that we take that we get from pharmacies. I mean, that's what the FDA does. But I think I understand what you're talking about. But so you've never smoked, but do you understand that the medicinal marijuana that's going to become available to the public is not the type of pot that you get when you get high. This is strictly pill or oil form. You can't get high from it.
A lot of ceremony over just some pills and oil.
Well,
because you got to make sure it's done properly.
Make sure it's done properly. Yeah. Are you opposed to it?
You know a guy named Adam Gottlieb?
No. The question.
He wrote a book back in the late 60s, early 70s called Legal Highs.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few ways to get high legally.
Yeah.
A lot of different little plants that does stuff.
Yeah.
And none
Do you
of
understand the words that I'm speaking to you right now? You can't get high from this medicine. You can't get high.
Horrible. It's like any other medicine.
Yeah. Okay, man. Thanks. Thanks for the call.
All right. 232-1542.
Call back when you land.
Hey, caller, you up? Go ahead.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Question.
Good Lord.
There's a lot of talk about you can't get high on the product, but how about the byproducts of the product? I've heard there's a lot of money to be made on the byproduct. Any word on that?
Well, describe what you're talking about when you say the byproduct.
I'm not sure of the details. That's just things I've heard. I mean, there's got to be leftovers of something in the marijuana that they're going to be processing.
You know, I really don't know because I don't know the process of processing it.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what they do, how they take it, how they take the marijuana and from plant form and put it and take the THC out of it and then put it into pill form. But you're right. There may be, I mean, where does the THC go? There may be a byproduct out there where people would be able to get their hands on it and sell it.
All right. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much, sir. We're going to go ahead and take this quick break. We've got news at the top of the hour. We've got a weather and a traffic update and a whole new hour of discussion coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Here on Offsides, Brandon and Shannon, News Talk 96.5 KPL.
What's up, Acadiana, and welcome to Offsides. I'm Shannon Wilkerson here with Brandon Comeaux. Thanks for joining us for today's broadcast. We'll be with you until 6 o'clock. It's currently 5:08. Finally got a little rain this afternoon, cooling things off. When I arrived here a few hours ago, boy, it was blazing hot. Yeah. And I can see just by looking past Brandon that it's a little bit darker, shadier in the afternoon, and the rain has apparently passed. Yeah. But somehow it just looks cooler out there.
It does look cooler, and that's the cool thing is the fact that the sun hasn't come rushing back out right after the rain now. Yeah. The clouds have stayed overcast, like it's a big blanket over us right now. Yeah. And it needs to stay that way because it needs to be a little bit cool for these people that are coming out of work. So that way, you know what, they can at least get some cool weather as they're getting in their cars and they're driving home.
Well, listeners don't realize this unless they know us personally, but Brandon and I both wear glasses.
Yes.
Okay, and anybody who wears eyeglasses can tell you that is really a pain when you come out of an air-conditioned building this time of year. Yeah. You can judge the heat and what time of year it is simply by the fog in on your glasses. And so that's frustrating. Walking to your car, taking your glasses off, trying to wipe them off, sweat's rolling down your head. It's a miserable time of year. Anyway, so it's a little bit cooler out there. It looks really nice. And, okay, so going into our 5 o'clock hour here.
Speaking of that miserable weather.
Speaking of miserable weather, Lafayette, they have these lists, all right? and they have the list, the best city in the state, best city for food, worst city for crime, and things like that. Well, Lafayette is on a lot of these lists, and unfortunately Lafayette made another list, and it's not a good one. Now Lafayette, Louisiana, is ranked number 13 on the list of cities in the entire state with the highest rate of burglaries. I was really surprised at that. Of course, it's unfortunate news, and none of us like to talk about those kind of things, but that is the fact. We are number 13 in the entire country.
Yeah.
And so my opinion, and I don't know this, but it's my opinion that the rise in burglaries is from Amazon. Okay, because I think that more burglaries are taking place with people that are just cruising neighborhoods and looking for these deliveries that we all get on our front doorstep. That has now become so common, and people didn't get things delivered to them anything like they do now. FedEx, UPS, these businesses are thriving simply because of the deals that they get through Amazon. We all shop at Amazon now. We all get things delivered. We get things delivered to my house 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes they're little boxes, sometimes they're big boxes. Most of the time it's just clothes for the dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, but we all see these videos posted on social media of people that are going up to people's front doors, and now outdoor security systems have become very affordable and very common.
Right.
You didn't see homes with security cameras years ago.
Yeah.
It was unless you were a millionaire, okay, or a Hollywood elite or whatever. But now lots of homes have these security systems. We're seeing a lot of videos of people that are cruising the neighborhoods, and they just walk up to the door and they grab the box, and they're taking a chance that it's something valuable. I think that has added to the higher rate of burglaries that are taking place here and everywhere.
I think it's added to it. I think that's a great. I think that's a great assumption. I'm going to go much more simpler than that, though. You know why we've got so many burglaries in our area? And this is after talking with law enforcement over and over again about this. People are not locking their doors. There are people that are literally just walking up to cars and trucks and other vehicles and just pulling on the door handles, hoping that those doors are open.
Yep.
And sure enough, people are leaving their doors unlocked.
Yeah, I can't believe that. I don't think that it's false. Okay, I just find that so unbelievable because now everybody, you don't even have to lock the door. You just push the button on your keychain.
Yeah.
You used to actually push the button down. All right. There was an effort involved. The keys are already in your hand.
Yep.
All right. You take the key out of the ignition, you close the door, you hit the button, the horn bonks, you know that the alarm is set.
Yep.
And so I'm surprised to hear that.
It is. It's amazing. I mean, I remember one time, and it was a year or two ago, where I was talking with policemen, and they had like 47 burglaries within a certain time span, and 45 of those were unlocked vehicles. I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy. And I'll tell you, these surveillance systems that I was just talking about, you see that as well.
Yeah. Okay,
I've seen many postings on Facebook and other social media outlets where people will post a video of they have a video in the front of their house. But in that video, you can see the neighbors across the street's homes, maybe 2 or 3, and maybe even the neighbor next door, depending on the angle of the camera. And you see exactly what you just described.
Yeah.
2 or 3 guys just going from car to car, seeing if the doors are unlocked.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even trying to jimmy the lock or break into it. They just want to make it easy. And if the door's unlocked, they look and see if there's anything in there. And I don't see that a lot of them are going to the effort, or at least in these videos, a lot of them are not going to the effort of trying to steal like the stereo or the radio out of the dashboard. They just see if the door is open, they look around, they look in the console, they look in the glove box, they look around inside the car for anything that is just right there, readily available for them to grab. And then that's another burglary that takes place.
232-1542. We'd love to open up the phone lines to you. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I do keep my door locked in my car at night, and I teach my son and tell my husband to do the same. But that didn't really help us when my car was broken into twice in 1 week, once at my job, once at my home. Door was locked. They took a piece of cement that fell off the sidewalk and threw it through my window. Rummaged through everything, looked in the trunk, looked in the glove compartment, took what they could. And then the next week, or within a few days actually, they came on my street and broke into cars throughout my entire street. and came back for the car stereo this time while breaking yet another window. And I had to pay for 2 windows in 1 week. So locking my door didn't actually help me all that much that time.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's hit or miss, you know.
It is hit or miss, and they hit you more than once. And
and I do have all of my Amazon packages delivered to my office.
Good.
My mailman at my office actually asked me, why does everybody have their packages delivered here? And I said, because if I leave it at home, somebody's just going to walk in my garage and it's a free-for-all. They're just, you know, so no, I'm not going to deliver it to my house.
Yeah, on more than one occasion in my neighborhood, it happened with me and it also happened with my wife. We saw cars in the middle of the day cruising around, and we live in a reasonably small neighborhood. We don't know every vehicle and every person that lives there, but we are familiar with most of the vehicles that travel through our neighborhood because you see basically the same cars. And on more than one occasion, I saw it once, my wife saw it once, cars that were just cruising around very slowly, and we watched them and followed them, and then they ended up just driving off when they noticed that we were following them. Both times we got their license plates, and we reported it in case somebody had reported something stolen or missing in the neighborhood. Point that I'm making is that is a very easy crime now. The people that broke in with you, they're doing it the hard way. Breaking windows and getting through. Most of them do just like what Brandon was describing. They go around looking for car doors that are unlocked. It's easy. All you got to do is open the door. And they look around, see it, because you could leave anything. I will say that I remember on one occasion, we were guilty of that. We got up, went and got in the car the next day. All of our belongings that were in the console and in the glove compartment, the console was open, the glove compartment was open. Everything had been pulled out. Wow. Okay, so it was clear right away that somebody had rummaged through our belongings, and we realized, oh my goodness, I guess we left the car door unlocked. And so it can happen any and everywhere, and it certainly does.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the call.
All right, 232-1542, 232-1542. Let's take one more call before we head on over to the break. You're on the air, caller. Go ahead.
I want to say visible cameras do make a difference as a deterrent, but in the times that they don't make such a deterrent, like I'm a builder. I've been a builder for a long time, and we just had one of our tool trailers broken into in a well-known neighborhood. But we have the facial recognition on these guys, the vehicle they were driving. So even if they do break in, at least you have an opportunity to run them down with the law enforcement. But I found that visible cameras, a lot of people have the small inconspicuous cameras that, perpetrator may overlook. But if you have the large visible cameras, I think that's a pretty strong deterrent.
Oh, I want great big cameras and signs. Pointing to the cameras. You're being videotaped right now. We're watching you live.
Oh, I just want to get the 2 guys with the tattoos that stole the tools out of our trailer a couple of weeks ago. Hey, we know who you are and we're looking for you. So.
And you will get caught. It's only a matter of time.
Especially if you have a clear picture of the tattoo, because guess what? Those don't go away.
That's the best when some of these criminals have these very recognizable things on them.
Yeah, on their face.
Yes,
okay, facial tattoos. Not good if you're a criminal. Thanks for the call, man.
Thank you, caller.
All right, Cajun Harley Davidson. When you hear that, that means it's time for us to talk a little bit about Cajun Harley Davidson.
Go on. Look, Cajun Harley Davidson, really, they have what is called the Warranty Forever. It's a new offer that provides a lifetime limited powertrain warranty. Now, this warranty is included in every new and pre-owned bike under 5 years old, and it's at no additional cost to the buyer.
That's right. And throughout the month, in addition to that, if you buy a bike that is new and less than 5 years old, you will get a free 2-year maintenance program. Now, that includes 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 mile service at no additional cost, free details on the bike every time you get it serviced, a free battery if you need a battery in that time period, and here's the good part. Free pickup and delivery of your bike within 30 miles. If you're not able to bring the bike over to Cajun Harley Davidson, you live within a 30-mile radius, we come and pick it up and bring it back. And you get priority schedule.
That is customer service at its finest.
Yeah.
Cajun Harley Davidson. We're going to go ahead and take this quick commercial break. When we come back, well, more of your calls as we continue talking about Lafayette making an unfortunate list. And also, how does the weather play into all of that?
I'm ready for that.
All right, we'll continue the discussion right after this. We got to spend some time talking about Poseidon's, man. Poseidon's, they've got daily lunch and dinner specials, open Tuesday through Friday for lunch from 11 to 2, Tuesday through Saturday for dinner from 5 to 9. Poseidon's Authentic Greek Restaurant.
Yeah, it's delicious food. You can start with an appetizer. They have hummus, pita bread, cabbage rolls, grape leaves, stuffed peppers, all kinds of great appetizers, or you could try one of their soups, a Grecian soup, Cajun-approved lentil soup, which I'm a big lentil fan. Yeah. Delicious.
Well, look, today I got a chance to discover gyro. Now, normally when I'm getting food from Poseidon's, I love to get, their moussaka. That's the Greek lasagna that I like to talk about. But today I tried some gyro, and the meat was absolutely delicious. It was, the flavor from it just kept going on and on as I ate it. It was incredible. And as a matter of fact, their hummus as well with the pita bread. The hummus, look, the stuff in the store is good, but this right here is you can tell that it's made so fresh. It's just absolutely incredible flavor to it. Poseidon's.
Yeah, it's great. They're located at 103 College Saloon Road. That's the same shopping strip as Max's Pool Hall. So try that out. Poseidon's Authentic Greek Restaurant, daily lunch specials, dinner specials, open Tuesday through Friday for lunch 11 to 2, Tuesday through Saturday for dinner 5 to 9. Dine in, take out. You can get them through Waiter, and they do catering as well.
Yes, we love them for a variety of reasons, especially the food. Yeah. All right, 232-15.
And a lot of people here at Town Square are loving them today because they brought a lot of food over here. I'm going to tell you, my only complaint right now is that, okay, so Poseidon's brings us this food over here because they're advertising. Right. They're one of the sponsors here on Offsides, and we really appreciate that. Yeah. And so they bring Brandon and I all this food. We didn't get any of the food. Okay, everybody at Town Square, they scarfed it up like mad dogs. It was so delicious.
Oh, they really did.
I mean, they were just running out of here with it. I tried to chase down Carol. Yeah. She grabbed the whole thing of cabbage rolls. I'm like, where are you going? You food thief.
Yeah, they had people here that had been eating all day, and when they saw the Poseidon's, they said, well, we got to make some more room. We have got to have some of this deliciousness. So, yes, Poseidon's. You definitely want to try them out. Located at 103 College Saloon Road. Same shopping strip as Max's Pool Hall.
Yep.
So, all right, so we are talking about Lafayette making a list, an unfortunate one in this one, and it deals with the highest rate of burglaries, number 13 in the list of cities in the U.S. with the highest rate of burglaries. And we have some people that have been waiting to get in, so let's let them do so. Caller, you're on Offsides. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey.
Yes, hello. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Well, I had a rash of burglaries in my neighborhood, and security systems wasn't doing too good of a job. So I decided to design my own, and mine is designed to catch the license plate of the vehicles that pass up and down the road. And ever since I installed it, the burglaries have ceased on my side of the neighborhood, but everywhere else.
Yeah, good work.
Yeah.
I wish you were my neighborhood. I wish you were my neighbor.
Well, I'm trying to sell it, but people don't want to get anything, purchase anything until they're usually a victim. I'm trying to get the name out. I was wondering how would be the best way to do so to help some of these people out.
You mean to sell your product that you designed?
Yeah. I'm local.
Get a patent and go on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
How about that?
I don't believe in that. I'm not too fond of Shark Tank.
Yeah, it was just a joke.
Although we do hope you're able to figure it out.
Yeah, good luck. It sounds like an interesting product because you're right. I mean, like we have surveillance cameras at our house.
Yeah.
All right, but it doesn't have that type of technology. Because, and I'm curious about that, how you gather the image of the license plate out on the street. But I don't want to give away your secret, but it sounds like you did a great job.
And if you figure out how to get a business going with it, make sure you come advertise with us here on Offsides.
Thanks,
Not
buddy.
a problem. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
232-1542. We head back to the Cajun Harley hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Real quickly, you're talking about Poseidon's. You got to always start off with the grape leaves and then go from there.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I swear about half the people that came by, because see, I was like the gatekeeper to the food at first.
Yeah.
And then I went ahead and I said, all right, well, let's go ahead and put it out for everybody. So everyone, I bet half the people were like, okay, where's the grape leaves? That's what I want is the grape leaves.
Yeah. They were all gone by the time I got here.
Yeah, well, y'all got gypped. you know.
I hear you.
What's the cracked wheat around the hamburger? What do they call that? I can't remember what it is.
Bread?
It's a cracked wheat thing, and you have hamburger meat inside of it. And I can't remember what it is. It's like a meat pie.
Okay, you know what they call that?
Oh.
You know what they call that?
Yeah.
Meat pie.
No, it's not a meat pie.
Oh, okay, that's not.
But
okay.
It's good, but you know, it's really, really good. I mean, you've got a pork souvlaki is good also too. But getting back to these. If you look at the Cox commercial,
By the way, before the caller goes on, y'all better tell, when y'all go to Poseidon's, y'all better tell them y'all heard about them here on Offsides.
Yeah, boy, they got their money's worth today.
By all means, I'll tell them you gave me a bunch of free stuff, and that's why I'm coming in.
All right, thank you.
That you need enough of it. But anyway, getting back, if you have that, Cox advertised that thing, and they sound like if you put that Cox thing in where they had the video, and what are you doing on my porch and all that,
yeah.
I don't have any problem. But I doubt that thing works like they say it does.
Well, I think that you're right. I don't know how advanced that security system is. I don't know anybody that has it. But I'll tell you, it's better than nothing. Okay, if you don't have some type of surveillance out there, what is the biggest deterrent, in my opinion, isn't necessarily the cameras, but the threat of cameras. Okay, like people that have those signs in their house, in front of their house, in their yards that say they have a security system.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't really need the security system. The sign does most of the work for you. Okay, and so, and I'll tell you that there are a lot of stores out there, like convenience stores, different type of retail stores, and you see those video cameras all over the place, and you see the signs that says you are being videotaped right now. I'm telling you, a lot of them have fake cameras. A lot of times there's only a few of those cameras that are actual operating cameras, and the other ones have the exact same housing and they look identical. You have no idea that it's not working. And you have no idea which ones are working if you are aware that some of them aren't. And so the deterrent the deterrent many cases are the threat of the camera itself. So if you get that thing from Cox, it would be smart on Cox's behalf if they gave you a sign to put in your yard that said that you had the surveillance system.
Absolutely, and let's look at it this way. Surveillance system is good. It got someone indicted when they looked at that thing in Florida just recently. So they it helped catch Mickey Schoenig's killer. So
yes, that's right.
Surveillance cameras are great, and you cannot doubt. So you've got to be aware of all that. You know, I have one too, and then the other thing is that someone breaks into your house and threatens your life. You have a thing where you'd have to turn it off, and it sends directly to the police, and they come, and I mean, you've got, I mean, it may not save you, it may, but at least they're gonna, people are gonna get caught, and you have to have some kind of security system to that.
That's right. Especially here, not just here, nationwide. I just got a text message from Scott that a burglary occurs every 20 seconds in the country. So think about how many burglaries have taken place since we started this conversation.
It's a crazy thought. Thank you, sir. All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Keep your calls coming in to the Cajun Harley hotline, 232-1542. Welcome back to Offsides, everybody. Shannon Wilkerson here with Brandon Coburn. We're talking about how Lafayette, Louisiana, is ranked 13th in the nation when it comes to burglaries. They also have seen a rise in violent crimes as the weather heats up. Now, we've talked about that here before. We're getting ready to go to the phone lines, and there are a lot of studies and statistics that back up the fact that violent crime definitely increases when the temperatures go up. For example, 2.6% more murders take place in the summer months. Now, a lot of people think that that's because people are outside more, and so they are affected by the heat. When people are out in the heat, their heart rate goes up, their blood circulation changes, they start sweating, and men's testosterone goes up naturally when it's hot outside. Also, just to give you another example, countries that are closer to the equator
tend to be global leaders in crime, in violent crime. So there is definitely a correlation between hot weather and people's behavior and when they go outside. I mean, think about it. When you're outside, you get in your car and, the air conditioner has not been able to cool the vehicle down yet.
Yeah.
And you're in traffic and you're sitting in traffic and you're hot. You put in a long day's work. That tends to affect your behavior in a negative way. You're not happy about sitting in that damn hot car. And so now somebody cuts you off. You're going to respond much more aggressively than you would maybe in the fall or in the winter when it's nice and cool outside. In fact, there's a New York police officer that goes on tour, and he does a lot of seminars and speeches and things like that. He calls Jack Frost the best cop on the New York City Police Department.
Yeah. Well, nobody wants to be out in the cold.
That's right. That's the counter to it. The crime goes down in the winter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, nobody wants to be out in the cold. Criminals are inside over the night because they don't want to be out there freezing their butts off.
That's right.
Well, when you've got this hot weather and it's not even getting below 75 at night,
right?
They're more irritable and they're more likely to be outside as well, sometimes at night as well.
That's right. Also, statistically, when the weather falls below 80 degrees, okay, like from that point forward, assaults go down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a correlation there.
Yeah, the hot weather just puts people in a bad mood. It makes them very irritable.
Yeah, and I know I've mentioned this before, but police officers, and anybody that's been in the bar and nightclub business will tell you, boy, when it starts getting hot, you have a lot more security problems.
Oh, yeah. 232-1542. All right, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, guys, I just wanted to chat with y'all about a potential or probable phone scam that might be linked to some burglaries. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Dealing with assessments or home inspections. So I've gotten this call. I got one about a week and a half ago, I guess, and I just got another one this morning. It was just a little weird, and this guy called, and, he wanted to know if I was the property owner at this address, and said that, you've probably seen us in the neighborhood. We're out doing work and everything, and we're going to be in your neighborhood tomorrow doing assessments for damages, because all the recent damages, it's all very vague stuff. And so he said he's with a company called Louisiana Services. So if anybody ever gets a call from them, just hang up on the dude. And what these people will do is they'll run this scam where they show up and they're basically trying to show up to your house to case the joint because they want to rob it. And, like he asked, you're going to be home tomorrow. And, of course, you never tell a stranger when you're going to be home.
Yeah,
and, I even toyed with him a little bit, kept him on the line and said, I'm sorry, where are you located again? What town and all that? And I kept them running, and so I said, what's your business address? And he's like, what? I don't understand. He's like, I said, what's your business address, man? I'm looking you up on Google to see if you're legit. Click.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yet another reason why I never, ever answer my phone if I don't recognize the number.
I never do that.
I'll let it go to voicemail. If it's important enough, they'll leave a voicemail.
Yes, I do the exact same thing. I don't answer if they're not on my caller ID.
Right. Listen how scary this is, though. So later, 2 weeks ago, whatever, the day I received the first call, about an hour later, my mom calls me and tells me she got a call. She thought it was weird that this guy was calling saying they were going to be in the neighborhood doing home inspections, wanted to know if she was the homeowner of this address. Actually, he was looking for my brother. Neither my brother or my mom had their phones associated with the address at all. He got online, tracked down other people associated with this address, and started calling them.
Oh, man.
And then I got another call from him this morning. It's a little scary.
Hey, they don't screw around. I mean, this is what these people do for a living.
That's right. So just so everybody's aware of that, just, you hear from this, and I don't know if any police or anything are listening, but, if there's something like that they're not aware about, maybe they should be. So.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. All right, 232-1542. We head back to the Cajun Harley hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey, your Greek meat pies are called kibbe. Yum, 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 yum,
kibbe.
yum.
That is delicious.
That is good.
Hey, I was working on a car door taser, but I'm looking for some volunteers to test it. The testing part is the hardest part. Don't know if anybody's got a bad neighborhood. I can install a couple and, get some good video footage. But I imagine you can find them pretty easy with the mess in their pants, in the front, the back, and all that. They'd probably be easy to track down. That's a pretty good idea.
You'd be surprised how many idiots out there would be volunteering for this, okay? I had some former employees that hung around after work one night. This is a true story. and one of them had gotten a taser. So they were tasing themselves just as entertainment, and one of them tased himself so hard he knocked out his own tooth. I swear, tooth went flying across the room. Anyway, so you'd be surprised. Put it on social media, and there's a lot of fools out there that'll do it just for the fun. Good luck with it.
Thank you, sir. All right, 232-1542. Back to the Cajun Harley Hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I was calling to say about the people that were talking about the license plate thing. I think that's a really good idea to get a camera. You know, maybe get hidden cameras by your mailboxes so the street view, because they're going to come and probably case the house at some point. So, if they're wearing a mask or something, you wouldn't be able to see them in the video, but you'd at least be able to see all the vehicles that went by your house.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you'd be surprised how effective a big dog is.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I live in Youngsville. They had someone steal someone's vehicle from their house not that long ago, probably 2 weeks ago. So.
Yeah. Well, when the lady was calling earlier that had her issues, I didn't want to ask her, but I couldn't help but wonder in my mind if she was living in Youngsville, because they've been having those rash of car burglaries lately, and it seems like these criminals are getting more and more brazen in how they're going about doing it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in the new neighborhood by Copperfield, the other one, Copper Meadows, my mom lives in there, and they've had, so many break-ins. They had a little app for the neighborhood, and everybody's posted, every other day about something.
So let me ask you this, ma'am. Have you noticed, has there been a better police presence in that area since the burglaries have started?
Not that I've noticed. I want to say I've noticed it before all this happened. They used to sit at the neighborhood pool, but I haven't seen them.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, thanks for the call.
There's an area that needs it. It would sure be that one. 232-1542. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey guys, statistically they say the robberies and stuff go down in the winter and they go up in the summer. And statistically, I go to the gun range more in the summer than I do in the winter too. I just kind of thought I'd put that out there.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for sharing that bit of personal information.
Back to the phone lines. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi guys. Your previous caller that talked about the taser door concept.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell you, I did something somewhat similar many years ago.
All right.
And my trial happened to work when someone tried to get in my vehicle with one of those jimmies.
Yeah.
I put a plate on the inside of the door that covers your lock mechanism.
Yeah.
And I had converted it to 4,000 volts.
Good Lord. That's kind of rough, man.
Yeah, I was just out of the military, and I said, I keep up with my electronics, so let me do something about all these doggone people stealing out of the garage. I lived in Las Vegas back then, so
yeah.
I loved going through garages with those little Slim Jims and robbing people, and so I just said, you know what, I'm going to get a little creative, and I did it, and sure enough, Metro showed up, knocking, because at my work where I was at, and they asked me to come out because one of the officers tried to pull the jimmy out, and he kind of electrocuted it.
Oh,
did they arrest you?
That was a short-lived project.
I guess it was. It reminds me, there's a video out there that I've seen a lot of people share of somebody during the campaign had a Trump sign in their front yard, and people kept stealing it. And so this guy ran a live electrical wire to it. And there's a video of somebody trying to steal it, and they get electrocuted, and this guy's hurt. He's jumping up and down in pain. It's unfortunately kind of funny.
Well, I saw thank you so much, caller. I saw another video yesterday on YouTube where they had this guy that would go to random areas, whether it was park benches or bus stops, and he would put down a phone as if to leave a bait phone set up to see who would take the bait and try and steal it. And when someone would try to steal the phone, he had a remote control that was hooked up with the phone from a distance, and basically when he pressed it, it would shock the heck out of whoever had it on him.
But he would leave the phone somewhere?
He would leave the phone somewhere to see who would take it, and then he would press the remote control later on.
Wow.
He waited till one guy put the phone in his pants pocket.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Front pocket?
Yes.
Not good.
Not good at all.
Okay, so we've mentioned L.A. Solar Film earlier in the broadcast, and one of the things that I failed to mention to you is that my neighbor actually got their windows tinted by L.A. Solar Film. They live right across the street from me, and I'm proud to say that they learned about L.A. Solar Film from listening to Offsides.
Awesome.
And so I'll tell you, one of the things that I've noticed is that the front of their house, the aesthetics has changed completely. Now, they already had a very nice-looking home, all right, but there's something about the consistency of having those windows tinted that really dresses out the front of their residence. It's really very impressive. And, of course, we've been proud to have L.A. Solar Film as an advertiser on the show for a while now, but this was actually the first time that I personally saw their work. Now, I know Greg for a long time, and Greg is a real artist. And when I say a real artist, I mean a drawing artist.
Right.
And the reason I mention that is because he's very good at working with his hands, and he pays very great attention to detail. And so it's very impressive work.
Absolutely. And I mean, you just talked about it. It really evens out your home with a beautiful, luxurious look with that uniform feeling that it gives to it. And we're talking here about security and safety, and we got to mention this as well because, you know, that is a part of what LA Solar Film is about, is keeping homes safe. And it protects your property, protects your home. And I mean, look, if the person that's trying to break into your home can't see what's inside it, well, that's certainly a deterrent right there.
Yeah, good work. All right, so give them a call. Call Greg at 534-8039 and tell Greg at LA Solar Film that you heard about him here on Offsides.
Estimates are always free. Remember that. Yep. All right, we're going to go ahead and take this quick commercial break. When we come back, we will continue on with the conversation here on Offsides.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We've been talking this hour about the crime here in Lafayette. Apparently, Lafayette is now rated 13th in the nation when it comes to burglaries. That's a high number for a city like this.
It
That's
is
very disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, because after moving here from New Orleans, I mean, as you know, I grew up in New Orleans area, and you know, Orleans Parish, that's real crime.
Right.
And so moving here was such a safe move. And I don't think that this makes Lafayette less safe because these burglaries aren't necessarily violent crimes.
No.
However, with the heat, they've seen an uptick in the violent crimes as well.
I think, look, Lafayette, it's easy to see. Lafayette is so jam-packed right now. We see it in our traffic all the time. Everyone is trying to move into Lafayette if they have not already. And so with more people, that probability does go up for crime, and especially with thefts and such. So, I mean, I wouldn't have thought we'd have been 13th in the nation, but it's not a complete surprise that we're on this list.
No,
but 13 is pretty high.
13 is much higher than I would have ever expected it to be. I didn't think that Lafayette would be that close to the top in any crime statistic.
Yeah.
But we are, as I mentioned before, in my opinion, I think it's because of the rise in Amazon, because I think that a lot of burglaries, that's a new crime out there. It's a new and easy crime.
Yeah.
And so people drive around the neighborhoods, they look for those packages, and they grab them.
And for those that didn't hear before we go to this next caller, the lady that mentioned earlier that she gets all of her Amazon packages shipped to her work or delivered to her work, that's smart. For those that didn't hear that, consider that if you're someone that likes to order out from Amazon.
Yep.
All right, 232-1542. Let's head back to the Cajun Harley hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Probably been involved with about, 5 to 8 burglaries. And whether it's the heat or not, when you get your equipment stolen, you get hot really fast.
I bet.
I've got equipment with tool trailers full of equipment. We've had that broken into. We've had a lawn truck stolen full of lawn equipment. And I found if I don't get out and become the detective and do all the legwork, you're not going to catch them.
Mm-hmm.
But what I've been able to do, you go talk to neighbors, look for surveillance cameras, you get that information to the police, and they'll help you locate it. But whether you find them or not, most of the time you're not going to get your stuff back, and it's going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like what you're talking about, a lot of times this is equipment that is used for business purposes. or if you're a mechanic, or if you're a carpenter, and you have insurance. A lot of people will have insurance for that equipment. But let me tell you, getting the insurance to pay, that's a whole nother headache.
Yeah, most of the time your insurance won't cover it unless it's at your house. But they were talking about this morning, and I guess a detective or somebody in law enforcement was on the radio talking about, lock your doors on your trucks and or vehicles, that these people are evil. Mm-hmm. Well, I got to thinking about that. I'm wondering if I realize there are evil people stealing, but I think the people that are more evil are the judges, the attorneys, the politicians that are letting these guys go, because everyone that we've caught, there's a rap sheet a mile long, and they don't have anything done to them, so there's no consequences.
Well, that's why they keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
All right, man.
But hey, look, we're not number one anymore when it comes to incarceration rate.
Yeah, we're number two.
Yeah, Governor Edwards is going around celebrating that fact, but yet you've got crime happening.
There's other kinds of crime.
It's just ridiculous. Because he mentioned the politicians, and when I hear that, and when I hear some of the fallout from some of those that have gotten out early as a part of the whole governor's recidivism thing, it's ridiculous.
Well, the people are going to make that argument because it's a nonviolent crime.
232-1542. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Yes, your last caller kind of beat me to the punch. Y'all were missing the point at first. It seems like it's more a point of lawlessness. Nothing being done. I've had some of my vending machines broken into, maybe steal $200 and destroy $1,000 worth of material. They don't do them nothing. Nothing ever happens, and it just seems it's becoming more and more lawlessness of certain groups of people that could get away with whatever they want to get away with because it ain't worth putting them in jail. They have nothing.
Yeah.
But if you miss a payment or your taxes, you're going to jail. Oh, you're going to jail, pal. It's a total lawlessness. That's what's going on now.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call.
See if we can get one more in before the top of the hour. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The problem I'm having, I have cattle.
Yes, sir.
They're breaking into my pastures.
Oh.
To get the mushrooms, I guess.
Yeah.
They cut the wires. They cut the wires, and I'm over in the Youngsville area.
Yeah.
Instead of crawling near the wire, they cut the wires.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to get my cattle in. They're cutting wires to get in there to steal.
They're trying to steal your cattle?
No, I think they're probably trying to steal their mushrooms.
So, okay, boy, man, I tell you, those cows, they're rough criminals, buddy.
All right, thanks you,
for the call.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us today, 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow on the Big Friday right after this 22-hour break.